Hey, Celtics Nation! We're back with an exclusive video and the latest updates on our beloved Boston Celtics. Before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. This way, you'll always stay up to date and never miss out on any exclusive news. The NBA offseason might not have officially started, but the rumor mill is already spinning out of control, and one name that's suddenly front and center is PAYTON Pritchard. That's right. Boston Celtics guard PAYTON Pritchard has reportedly announced his departure from the team, and in doing so, he's broken his silence in a way that has fans buzzing. For a guy who's flown under the radar for much of his career, this moment feels seismic. We're not just talking about a routine roster move here. This could be the start of a new chapter, not just for Pritchard, but for the Celtics franchise itself. Sources close to the situation have hinted that this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It's been brewing for a while, behind the scenes, quietly and methodically. And now, with the season behind him, Pritchard is finally making his intentions known. And it's sending shockwaves across the league. Now, let's be clear, there's no official press conference yet. No signed documents hitting Twitter or walls dropping a here we go. But what we do have are breadcrumbs. And they're leading us to a pretty intriguing destination. According to insiders, Pritchard has been increasingly vocal within team circles about his role, his minutes, and most importantly, his desire to grow beyond what the Celtics have offered him. And when a player starts dropping hints to the media and posting cryptic messages on social media, you know something's cooking. In fact, during a recent podcast appearance, Pritchard didn't mince words. He talked about wanting a bigger opportunity, a fresh environment, and the need to show what he's really capable of. That doesn't sound like a guy settling into another year on the Celtics bench. That sounds like a player who's ready to bet on himself and walk away from a contender to do it. And here's where things get even juicier. The Celtics, despite their deep playoff runs, have never fully figured out how to utilize Pritchard. Some nights he's a spark plug off the bench, hitting clutch threes and energizing the second unit. Other nights, he's glued to the pine, barely cracking double-digit minutes. For a guy who dominated at Oregon and was drafted with real promise, it's been a frustrating roller coaster, and from what we're hearing, Pritchard's patience might have finally run out. Word is he had a quiet conversation with Brad Stevens and voiced his concerns respectfully, professionally, but firmly. That's a big step. It suggests this isn't just about frustration, it's about ambition. And if Pritchard truly is on his way out, you better believe there's going to be a line of teams ready to take a chance on a skilled guard with a chip on his shoulder. Let's not forget PAYTON Pritchard has game. The dude's got handles, vision, a deadly outside shot, and an underdog edge that's made him a fan favorite whenever he's gotten consistent minutes. Go back and watch the tape. There are stretches where he looks like he belongs in the starting lineup. The issue has never been talent, it's been opportunity. And maybe, just maybe, this rumored exit is Pritchard's way of finally forcing that opportunity to happen. Imagine him in a place like Orlando, Houston, or even San Antonio. Young teams with space to grow and minutes to spare. You give Pritchard 25, 30 minutes a night, and who knows what kind of numbers he could put up. It's the kind of gamble that could pay off huge, both for him and for whichever team decides to take the leap. And let's be honest, those kinds of stories are what the NBA is all about. There's also a very real emotional weight to this. Pritchard has always carried himself with humility and professionalism. He's not a locker room disruptor. He's not out here throwing shade or demanding trades via Instagram stories. So when someone like that breaks their silence, people listen. His statements weren't dramatic, but they were direct. He feels like he's done all he can in Boston. He's learned, he's waited, and now he's ready for more. That's the kind of quiet confidence that can turn heads around the league. And if the Celtics don't want to lose him for nothing, they might be forced to make a move sooner rather than later. The ball, quite literally, is in their court. Will they try to convince him to stay with promises of a bigger role, or will they grant him his wish and facilitate a trade that benefits both sides? Boston fans, understandably, are split. Some are heartbroken, others frustrated, and many are simply confused. How did it come to this? A homegrown player who's been nothing but loyal, now looking for the exit sign. It's a bitter pill to swallow, especially for a team that's prided itself on culture and cohesion. But in the modern NBA, change is inevitable. Teams evolve, rosters shift, and sometimes players outgrow their roles. It's not personal, it's business. Still, the emotional connection fans have with players like Pritchard runs deep. He's not just another name on a depth chart. He represents effort, hustle, and grit. Losing him would hurt, even if the stat sheets don't scream superstar. Because sometimes it's the intangibles that make the biggest difference. And Pritchard brought those every night. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. What does this mean for the Celtics moving forward? That's the million-dollar question. With Pritchard potentially gone, Boston loses a key rotational piece and a rare locker room glue guy. They'll need to find someone who can replicate his energy, his court vision, and his ability to swing momentum in tight games. Easier said than done. You don't just replace heart and hustle overnight. And depending on what they get in return, if this becomes a trade scenario, there's a real risk the Celtics could come out on the losing end. That's not a knock on their front office, but a reality check. Players like Pritchard don't grow on trees. You can draft all the raw talent you want, but finding someone who fits the culture and brings it every night, that's rare. There's also the league-wide reaction to consider. Pritchard's exit could set off a domino effect. Other teams might start making calls, reshuffling their rosters, trying to find their own version of Payton, a guy hungry for a breakout. And if he lands in the right situation and thrives, it'll only increase the pressure on Boston. It's happened before. Guys leave a contender, explode on a rebuilding team, and suddenly everyone's asking, why didn't he get that shot here? The optics could get tricky, especially if Boston stumbles out of the gate next season. Because fair or not, fans will draw the comparison. We lost Pritchard, and now we're struggling. That kind of narrative writes itself. And in a league driven by perception and momentum, that stuff matters. Of course, there's always the chance this is all smoke and no fire. Maybe Pritchard is just venting, testing the waters, or trying to nudge the Celtics toward change without actually jumping ship. Maybe cooler heads prevail, and he sticks around, re-signs, and becomes a bigger part of the team's plans next season. That scenario isn't off the table, but given everything we're hearing, that feels less and less likely. The tone of his recent comments, the timing, the vibe, it all points toward a player who's already halfway out the door. And if that's the case, then Boston fans better start preparing themselves now. Because when a player decides they're done waiting, it usually means the clock has already run out. So where does Payton Pritchard go from here? That's the million-dollar storyline to watch as the offseason unfolds. One thing's for sure, he won't be short on options. Plenty of teams are desperate for a guy who can run the offense, knock down shots, and bring leadership without ego. He's got the tools, he's got the mindset, and now, apparently, he's got the freedom. Whether it's via trade, free agency, or some surprise deal we didn't see coming, it feels like Payton Pritchard is ready to rewrite his story. And in a league where the underdog often steals the spotlight, don't be surprised if he becomes one of the breakout names of next season. Keep your eyes on this one, because the next chapter is about to begin. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.